had roughly 175 people register for this evening, and roughly half of them are brand new to ONREIA. So with that in mind, I do this every month, but I'm going to give you a little bit of background of who we are, what ONREIA is all about. So for those of you who are not familiar, my name is Jen. I know in the video box, it shows me as Shawn Allen. That is my husband. So Shawn and I, he is waving. If you have the grid open, you might see who that is. Shawn and I started ONREIA about a little over 2 years ago because we are obviously real estate investors, and we are in the Woodstock area. And what was happening was we were having to drive to Burlington to go to the Right Club or Durham or, some of these other real estate meetups that were a fair distance away. And we kind of got tired of having to go out of town, and we wanted to bring something that combined education, learning from other investors, and also networking. And so that's what we did. We brought a similar format to the Right Club and what they're doing in Durham. We brought that to London just over 2 years ago and started growing ONREIA. And it's been great. Before we had to close things down because of COVID, we were getting a good number of people coming out, 80 to 120 people usually every month. And really what we stand for as a group, we created this group for 3 reasons. We wanted to help connect people. This business is very much about who you know. It's about building relationships. It's about coming to the table and seeing how you can help someone else. So that's what we wanted. That's the type of community that we wanted to create in London. So it's all about connecting people, bringing people together, like-minded people with the same goals, the same views, or similar goals and views of wanting to build wealth and create time freedom through real estate investing. So that's kind of the first pillar of ONREIA. The second pillar is educating investors. We have learned a ton from hearing other local investors, people in Ontario, who are doing what we wanted to do. This wasn't, trying to think of some of the groups out there, and it's not to say they're bad groups, but we didn't want to, what am I trying to say, Shawn? I'm not being very articulate tonight.
Wanted to create a space where you could have not only like-minded people come in and create that community, but also have, sort of a structured group so we could have some education at the same time. And so it's a mixed bag, right? We're bringing in guest speakers that will come in, they're experts in their field, they're going to give their knowledge and share their knowledge to the group. But then there's also plenty of time to interact with the people who are in the community and are always there each month and talking to each other and sharing their knowledge, sharing deals, and sharing different opportunities.
That's right. So that's kind of the second pillar, all about education. And the third is inspiring action. So when we created ONREIA and we continue to build this community every month, we don't just want this to be a space where you show up, you learn something and then you don't apply it, and you go to the next month and go to another networking event or another Zoom call, another webinar, and you learn something else and you don't apply it. That's not what we want here. We really want you to take what it is that you're learning and apply it. Take action, because you can learn all the things in the world, but if you don't apply them and take action, it's all for nothing. So this is really what we've built within the ONREIA community. This is why we keep having people come back to our events and our meetings, and our group keeps growing, because we really have created this sort of community feel.
Go over.
I am going to stop sharing my screen here, and let's see. Can everyone, how do I go here? Can everyone see me now?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
thumbs up. Okay. Okay, great. So, oh yes, you can see that I am away from the children in our bedroom here. All right, so that's a little bit about who we are at ONREIA. Now, we couldn't do this without having sponsors. So first, I want to thank Jeff Wybo. Jeff has been a sponsor of ours since day one, and I wanted to invite him to just say a couple things, talk a little bit about the ONREIA market, or sorry, the London market. If you guys weren't on here before our meeting officially started, he was sort of starting to talk about it. So Jeff, why don't you talk a little bit about what's going on right now amid this whole COVID stuff?
Sure. Yeah, basically not too much. Sounds like the call, we got people, yeah, and I wear my sunglasses inside right now, sorry. Let me take them off for you guys. Jeff Wybo, real estate agent, real estate investor. I have 45 units that I control, and I help a lot of investors out, so feel free to reach out to me. But what's going on in London, and I was just going to say there's people from Montreal watching, Winnipeg, Brazil. Hello. If you want to buy Southwestern Ontario, London, our average price, read you some data, $423 right now is the average price of a residential home in London, Ontario. And so what everyone likes to ask me right now, like what's going on with COVID, like are prices going down? It's almost like buyers are just on one end and sellers are on the other end. It's only been about 2 months. Everyone's kind of waiting because we've got 738 new listings and 469 solds in the month of April. And that's down 50% from last April. So basically prices haven't changed at all because 423 was pretty much where we were at, but 50% less volume. So nobody's transacting as much, but the prices aren't dropping. Both sellers are just on their end and buyers are on their end. And then for London, Ontario, the north average is 530, east 350, and southwest 430. But if you think about the east at 350, that means if you want to buy any home in London, Ontario, 350 right there. If you want to have like a family. So if you guys are getting anything in the 200s that you can flip or do something with, it's probably a good deal. And you probably know your ARV could get up to 350 pretty easily. So if you got anything down there, you might want to just pull the trigger. And right now you're all sitting at home. You can purchase real estate. You can be on realtor.ca every day. Just look at all the listings and throw in an offer, guys. Like you should be putting in tons of offers right now because the product's just sitting there. Might as well make the realtors work or make the sellers work. And it's a tip. You want to buy real estate, you got to make an offer. But thank you, Jen. Have a great ONREIA. I'm really looking forward to this talk because it's always good to get other people's money involved, and that's how you can buy a lot of real estate.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Thank you.
I also wanted to thank another sponsor that we have, and I am trying to find her here in the chat. Diana, are you with us?
Hey, Jen.
Oh, there you are. Where are you? I can't see you.
I'm in there somewhere. It's under Diana Sherabin.
Okay, let me go through here again. Have patience with me, guys. This is my second Zoom. Is your video on, Diana?
Yes, my video is on and I'm unmuted.
Oh, there you are. I lost you the first time. Okay. So Diana, why don't you talk to, I know you have a few businesses, and I wanted really to let you talk about who you are as a business, or who, the different businesses that you represent, that you oversee, and a little bit about private lending for us.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me on. And fun little shout out to, I feel like he knew I was going to do this, but Jeff Wybo and I go way back, all the way back to kindergarten and the monkey bars. So if only we knew what we know now about real estate, we could have done some really good deals. And I don't remember what real estate prices were like then, but it's pretty funny to go full circle. We've literally known each other for, I think, probably 32 years or something ridiculous like that. So always fun to follow in Jeff's footsteps. Yeah, so I have a few companies in the real estate space. FFE Capital is our mortgage administration company, where we do private lending, and we've done private lending deals with several people in ONREIA. We're also real estate developers, and sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been on Zoom calls all day, like the rest of you guys. And on the development side, we do land development and commercial redevelopment, as well as invest mostly in commercial real estate. I wish I was invested a little bit more in res with what's going on right now. And then I also have a disinfectant fogging company called Go Fog It. It's got a lot of hype in London. We service all of Ontario. So Jen had asked me to speak a little bit about private lending in the current COVID environment. So what has happened is, speaking with a whole bunch of different lenders, including, credit unions, depending on what people's book of businesses were like pre-COVID, seems to have dictated what is happening right now to them. So I recently spoke with a credit union that was very heavily involved in retail. They have completely closed their lending because they're concerned about what their portfolio is like. So people who have been, either quite on the risk line in private lending, or just by the businesses that have been affected the most by COVID, which, a lot of people have kind of thought about this, but, retail is likely going to be the one that's most affected, then commercial, multifamily and residential will likely be the least affected. How affected they will be, really only time will tell. But I think, everyone who is invested in single family residential homes, I think they are going to fare the best, with multifamily probably being the next category. So when we look at private lending in this climate, we killed most of the commercial deals that were on the table when COVID happened, because the value of commercial likely is not the same post-COVID than it was pre-COVID. On the residential side, people are still doing deals. However, most lenders are more conservative on their loan to values. So for us, our loan to values, we're doing quite a bit of land right now, land private lending, residential, cottages. We're still doing deals. More equity is required, and the loan to values have got lower. So people are definitely being more conservative, but it is still very possible to get financed in this climate, especially if you have, strong equity partners, and you can really up your equity.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Diana. Now, I had asked you, is there anything different from a private lending perspective that you're looking at when investors come to you and saying, hey, will you fund this deal?
Yeah, so I think, we're always looking at very similar things, and we, bottom line, are always looking at, if someone defaults, which it does happen, are we able to liquidate the asset? And how challenging is that going to be? And who is going to be able to do that transaction? So, in this market, again, we know people still need homes, and specifically the residential single family home is, the most desirable. There's no shared walls. There's no, less possibility of, getting infected from home. Whereas I do think multifamily has a little bit more of that risk with shared walls, shared HVAC and things like that, though still, very low risk. So really markets that are on the fringe. So what I call like tertiary, small towns in the middle of nowhere, those deals are just not really getting done right now because people are very concerned with the liquidity of them. Whereas, places like London, Toronto, Hamilton, kind of those, more medium-sized cities, it's still very possible to get those deals funded because there's not a concern with being able to liquidate those assets. Now, again, private lenders are looking at, they might not, if something went to default, they might not be able to liquidate it as quickly. So they're just looking again for that margin if they have to hold on to that asset for, 6 to 12 months.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that. And thank you for sponsoring tonight's event. We appreciate your support. I know that you're joining us not from home, I don't think.
I'm in Toronto, and I really should have done it in the other room. There's an amazing view of Toronto in the other space, but yeah, the sun is setting over here. So sorry for the lasers.
That's all right. No worries. Well, thanks again for joining us. Any final thoughts before I turn things over to Dave?
No, I think this couldn't be a more pertinent topic. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear his thoughts. And I think in general, no one really knows what to do in this climate. And I think that's very reassuring. When you know that no one really knows what to do, you can see that we're really navigating new territory. And kind of my one genius tip is anytime you can negotiate options right now, I think that's a really good move. So what I mean by that is conditional deals where you can decide, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now, 24 months from now on the other side. And although that is unrealistic in many different asset classes, it is still possible to negotiate options, maybe with a non-refundable deposit of some sort to secure the deal. But I think anything like that where you can control an asset but not have to make a decision until later is a really good call right now.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Diana. Appreciate it. All right. So let's see here if I can move things back over. All right. Well, we are very excited to have Dave Dubeau joining us as a special guest speaker. And this night, for those of you who are joining us, and it's your first time doing an ONREIA event, typically we have 2 guest speakers and we give them sort of 45 minutes each and we do a networking break in the middle. This time, Dave was very gracious to offer to run a masterclass for us. So I'm going to, before I go any further, tell you a little bit more about Dave. And excuse me, I do have to read, so I'm going to be looking down here. So Dave Dubeau, he is a real estate entrepreneur, a best-selling author, speaker, and investor, attraction expert based in beautiful British Columbia, Canada, if you weren't sure where that is. He began his real estate investing career in 2003, doing 18 deals in 18 months. He later switched his focus to client-first rent-to-own deals, and nowadays he invests in multifamily apartment building properties. For the last several years, Dave has been a leading authority on helping mom-and-pop real estate investors to find money partners and raise capital. Using his proprietary 5-step money partner formula, Dave helps his real estate entrepreneur clients to grow their portfolios significantly and in record time by attracting investors instead of having to chase after them. And I don't know about you, but attracting people to you, way better than chasing people. Dave firmly believes that now is the ideal time to be lining up JV and investor partners. COVID-19 is going to be creating some amazing opportunities for those real estate entrepreneurs who are ready for them and who have the capital ready to take advantage of them. With the volatility of the stock market, investors need our real estate deals now more than ever. And this presentation is going to show you exactly how to do it. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Dave on, and I just need to find you here, Dave.
I'm here.
There you are. Let me put you on the spotlight. There you are. And
let's see if I can share my screen here, you guys. Is that showing up for you, Jen?
It is.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So let me know. Are we ready to rumble?
We are ready to go.
And are we taking questions? Is there a question section, or are they just putting it in the general chat?
Great
What are you
question.
doing for Dave here?
Yeah, so what I'd like you to do, if you have a question for Dave, put it in the chat, but I want you to first type in caps question so that we can decipher it apart from just the regular chat going on. Can you do that?
Yeah, that sounds good. And then we'll open up at the end, you guys, for all your questions. I'll stick around as long as you want me to. But yeah, if we could do that, because here's what happens. People get excited, they got a question, and I'm probably going to cover that in 14 slides. So if you could just save your questions to the end, it might get answered during the presentation. And otherwise, I'll be happy to stick around as long as you guys want me to. So again, welcome. The title of my presentation tonight is Finding Investors Raising Capital in These Times of Crisis. So we're under this whole COVID situation. As Jeff was mentioning, as Diana was mentioning, it's kind of unknown times. It's uncharted waters. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But bottom line, and a big thing my ears perked up with when Diana was talking, it looks like we're going to need more capital than before. Looks like we're going to require more equity to get into deals than we did before. So that makes tonight's topic even more important for you. So first of all, thanks are due. Huge thanks to Jenn and Shawn. What a good looking couple. My goodness, look at you guys. Just, that is a handsome couple there, you guys. Big thanks to you guys, and big thanks to ONREIA for having me here this evening. And maybe just show me a little love in the chat box, you guys. Who likes free stuff? Who likes free stuff? How would you like me to give you some free stuff? Danielle likes it. Who doesn't as well? All right, perfect. We got lots of free stuff there. So I got some free stuff for you guys and you gals that are on the call live today. So I got 3 free things for you. The first thing is a copy of the entire slide deck from tonight's presentation. Now, I'm going to be going through about 170 slides in about 65 minutes, you guys. I'm going to be talking pretty quickly, lots of slides going. I'd like you to take a few notes, jot down a few big picture ideas, but don't sweat it with the minutia, because you're going to get all of the slides from tonight's presentation. That's the first big bonus. Second bonus is a pre-release, well, actually, no, it's a copy of my newest book, The Money Partner Formula. You can see the hard copy back there on my bookshelf. You're going to get a PDF copy. That's another bonus. And then a special report that's called The Top 7 Ways to Generate Immediate Credibility, because in order for people to invest with you, they need to know you, like you, and trust you. So this is all about how to create that trust factor. So again, if you're here tonight watching this live, I'm going to figure out a way to get this to you. So let's jump in, you guys. And why is it that some people are successful at real estate while the majority are not? Let me know if you've ever heard of the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle. And that definitely applies to real estate investing. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've been teaching, training people about this for a long, long time. And it definitely applies. You see that the top 20% of real estate entrepreneurs own or control or do 80% of the deals. And the bottom 80% of real estate investors scramble for the scraps, the 20%. And I'm sure you guys can see that in the meetings that you go to and the groups that you belong to. Some people are really rocking it, other people not so much. So what is it? And what can we do to get you from the bottom 80% up into that top 20%? So I'm a firm believer in Stephen Covey's saying, I'm not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. That's been true for me all my life. And I think it's especially true now in this time of COVID. Everybody else is at home, hibernating, vegetating, watching Netflix, binging around on YouTube and Facebook. You guys are here investing your time to learn something. So I think now is the perfect time, now that we're all stuck in this quarantine, now is the perfect time to be taking action on some of the stuff we might have procrastinated about otherwise. And I think that on the other side of this COVID thing, or during this COVID thing, we're going to be seeing a ton of opportunities. We're going to see a ton of motivated sellers, because like it or not, our economy is going to take a serious crap kicking, you guys. There are tons of small businesses that unfortunately aren't going to be able to make it out on the other side of this. There's going to be personal and business bankruptcies. People are going to be losing their homes. And as sad as that is, that also creates opportunity. So we need to be ready to take advantage of that opportunity. Now, over the years that I've been doing this, I've seen people become very, very successful real estate entrepreneurs seemingly overnight, right? They do it very quickly in spite of being what some people might consider to be too old or too young. I've seen people get started in their 70s and become successful real estate entrepreneurs. I'm also aware of a young fellow at age 15 who just bought his first fiveplex without using his parents' money. And he didn't have the cash himself. He used other people's money for that. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, or otherwise. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, your religious beliefs, your creeds. None of that matters. It doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have, what your current credit situation looks like, your contacts, your previous experience. People have become successful very, very quickly overcoming any of these challenges. And you can also become very successful raising capital in the face of economic uncertainty and world crisis. Heck, we just saw that Shawn's got 12 deals, either buying or selling 12 deals in the next 30 days. stuff is still happening, people. All right. It also doesn't matter what kind of real estate investment strategy you're focusing on. If you're doing buy and hold, if you're doing suited deals, BRRRR properties, flips, rent to own, lease options, commercial's a little shaky right now, but commercial residential, very, very strong. Development deals. Canadians going down to the States, doing tax liens, tax deeds, mobile home parks, you name it, self-storage facilities, all of it. It doesn't matter what strategy. People are becoming very, very successful. So what is this golden key to success when it comes to real estate investing? Well, once you've got the basics down, once you've got the ABCs down, it's all about raising the capital, getting the cash that you need for your deals. All right. And now is the perfect time to lay the groundwork for raising capital, you guys. So we're all familiar with this, right? The Chinese character for crisis is made up of one character that represents danger. The other one is opportunity. Well, that's what this crisis is. It's this dangerous time that's going to provide lots of opportunity. And I firmly believe that real estate is a much better option for everyday people than the stock market. I mean, just look what happened when this whole COVID thing hit. The damn thing dropped, I think it was 30% in less than 24 hours. It was insane. In fact, I heard something interesting, Jen, and that is that back in, I think it was 1987, the stock market guys created a switch, a breaker switch. So if the stock market went down too fast, too quickly, too much too quickly, the breaker would go off. Everything would freeze for, I think, 15 minutes to let everybody kind of calm down, because it's basically the stock market is completely emotional. It's almost all greed. It's almost, greed and fear that controls most of it. So they shut it down for 15 minutes to let people calm down, and then they'd open it up again. So between 1987 and 2020, that breaker switch got flipped off one time. However, in the month of March, it got flipped off 4 times, I believe, within 72 hours. All right. So that's how crazy the stock market can be. So I don't know about you guys, but if you're on this call, you probably agree with me. I think real estate investing done the right way is the best vehicle for everyday people like yourself, myself, our investor partners, to create an above average return on our money backed by a solid, tangible asset. And that's real property. We're talking about shelter. This is one of the basic human needs, right? So now, while everybody else is hunkered down, waiting to see what happens, it's time for us to take action. And one of my early marketing mentors, Dan Kennedy, he had this saying. He says, take a look at what everyone else in your industry is doing, then do the complete opposite. You'll probably be very successful. All right. So look what everybody else is doing, do the opposite. Like Warren Buffett said, when he's seeing everybody else get greedy, that's our time to be fearful. When everybody else is freaking out, that's the time for us to be greedy. Now, what do I mean by greedy? I don't mean ripping off little old ladies. I mean, take action and seize the opportunities that arise. Now is the time for us to take a stand of leadership within our sphere of influence. I'll talk more about that in a second. It's time to start lining up your investors for the opportunities that are going to be coming down the pipe. All right. It's the perfect time to be able to get out of the gate once the kind of smoke clears a little bit and take advantage of those opportunities. Now, if you're not doing this already, I think I might have a sneaking suspicion about what's holding you back, because it's the same thing that held me back for a long time. And it's that fear of the 800-pound telephone, right? Picking this sucker up and calling people, cold calling people, coming across as desperate, coming across as needy, getting rejected over and over again, feeling like you're kind of begging people for money, like a beggar with your hat in your hand. None of us want to do that. That holds a lot of people back, because that's kind of what we're told we're supposed to do. We're supposed to pick up the phone and start dialing for dollars, cold calling, networking, schmoozing, turn every conversation into a real estate conversation, all that kind of stuff. Well, what I'm going to share with you here tonight is a completely different outlook on this. So let me know in the chat box, how would you like it that instead of you chasing after prospective investors, how would you like it if we applied something logical, if we applied something that works, if we applied marketing to attracting investors, raising capital, and getting people to put up their hand, getting people to, how about this, call you up interested in your deals, or text message you, or instant message you or send you an email saying, hey, I'm curious about what you're doing with real estate. Please tell me more. How would you like that? Go ahead and type that. Taz says, I would love that. All right. Yes, please. Yes. All right. Perfect. That's what we're here for. Now, I'm going to do something dangerous, you guys, because I like to live on the edge. And plus, we're online, so none of you can reach out and smack me. But I'm going to say something kind of dangerous here. Something dangerous to say in front of a bunch of real estate weirdos. And I say that with love and respect because I'm a real estate weirdo too. But here's the truth. Nobody really loves real estate. Nobody really loves real estate for real estate's sake. I mean, think about it. What is real estate? When you boil it down, real estate is dirt and sticks and cement and plumbing supplies and tenants and toilets and 3 a.m. phone calls. And it's a lot of work, right? Really, it is. If you've been doing real estate for any time, you understand that it's a lot of work. If you had the choice between doing what you're doing with real estate or winning the Lotto Max and having $86 million in the bank and just sitting on a hammock somewhere, watching money fall into your lap, chances are you'd pick the hammock. However, we understand that that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. So the reason we love real estate investing is because we understand that real estate is a vehicle. Real estate is the vehicle that we have chosen to get from where we are to where we want to be financially. This is the vehicle that we've chosen to create our ideal income through cash flow, our ideal net worth through building up equity, and ultimately our ideal lifestyle, whatever that is for you. So I'm going to use this whole vehicle analogy as we go through the presentation. So every vehicle needs a couple of things. It needs a driver. So your real estate vehicle driver is you. The next thing your real estate vehicle needs is fuel. And money makes the world go round, and money definitely makes real estate go. That is the fuel we need for our deals. So when it comes to fuel, we got a couple of choices. And this is how most of us get started. We self-finance our deals. We scrape and scrimp and save up and use our own money for down payments and repairs, etc., for our own deal. So that's kind of like having a little jerry can of gas in the garage. You put that in the vehicle and off you go. But sooner or later, this is going to happen. We're going to run out of gas, right? It's going to happen to anybody. Nobody's got that big of a jerry can. So that's what keeps the bottom 80% of real estate investors at the bottom. They self-finance, they run out of cash, they get stuck with maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 properties in their portfolio, and then they can't break through. They can't get past that. And years ago, my friend Peter Kinch, the author of, what was the book he wrote? Real Estate Action Plan. Very, very good book. He was a mortgage broker for a long time, and he was talking with the guys, I think it was at Genworth, and they explained to him that 95% of Canadians have never purchased an investment property. Your own house doesn't count. 95% of Canadians have never purchased an investment property. And the people who are purchasing investment properties, the vast majority, around 80% of them, are stuck with 1 or 2 or maybe 3 in their portfolios. Why? Because they're using their own money and they run out. Now, on the other hand, when we dial this in, when we learn how to attract investors, raise capital, when we have investors in the wings ready to go, it's like having our very own gas station. You can go there anytime you want, 24/7, and fill up the car. All right, a little bit of a backstory, just to let you know what qualifies me to talk to you about this. So first of all, graduated way back, 1990, with a basically asinine degree in psychology, also known as a BA, basically asinine degree in psychology. And I wasn't getting flooded with job offers. So I said, hey, why don't I go see a bit of the world? So I did. I went and traveled around Mexico and Central America, ended up settling down in San Jose, Costa Rica. Let me know if anybody here has been to Costa Rica before. So anyhow, I fell in love with the country, eventually fell in love with a specific Costa Rican, settled down there, got married, had kids, started a business, a language training company down there, and actually created a bit of a success for it. That's where I really got passionate about marketing. Was able to take that little company from, the bottom of the pack to number 3 in a very crowded market of over 50 direct and indirect competitors. Did that in about 2 years, all through marketing. And then after living in Costa Rica for about 10 years, my then wife and myself decided to pack everything up, take the kids, and move to Canada. We're going to move to a brand new city, Kamloops, British Columbia. I had no contacts, no clue, nothing about Kamloops. We picked it because of the climate, and started all over again from scratch. I hadn't been able to sell my business, so we really were starting over from scratch. And people say, well, Dave, most people want to retire to a place like Costa Rica. You were living there, you had it pretty good. Why the heck would you move from Costa Rica, even if it was to beautiful British Columbia? And that's true. And most people who are not new Canadians can't relate to this, but you guys, we got it pretty good here in Canada. We don't always recognize it. We don't always relate to that, but we do. And if anybody here is a first, how can I put it? Yeah, a new Canadian or a first generation Canadian, go ahead, type in the chat box if you think we've got it pretty good here in Canada. We definitely do. So anyhow, wanted our kids to go to school and grow up in Canada, because even though Costa Rica is pretty safe, being a pasty-faced white guy in Latin America, whether you got money or not, people assume that you do, and you kind of got a big target on your back. And nasty things can happen, like kidnappings and ransoms and that sort of thing, which don't happen very often in Kamloops. All right, so that's why we moved here. But I had to figure out what the heck am I going to do, because we were starting all over. I hadn't been able to sell the business, didn't have much cash, had zero credit, didn't have bad credit. I had zero credit, no job offers. I'd been self-employed for so long, I was pretty much unemployable, and there wasn't going to be a big demand for the kind of business I had in Costa Rica, which was language training. So I was stressed out trying to figure out what I was going to do. Saw one of those late night infomercials. I don't know if they still are on TV or not, but back in the day, they were on quite a bit. So 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I had insomnia. I was watching this thing. This guy came on, American, said, hey, you want to get into real estate with little or no money? I said, yes, because that's exactly what I've got. I said, good, I've got this course. So I bought it, sent away for it, got it, dusted off all the DVDs and CDs and whatnot, went through that and applied it. And my initial little claim to fame for real estate was doing 18 deals in 18 months in and around Kamloops, which is a fairly small town at that time, around 80,000 people. And all of those deals I was able to do with private sellers. So I never used a realtor for any of those deals, didn't surf the MLS, didn't even call any FSBO sellers. It was all by applying marketing and getting motivated sellers to reach out to me and say, hey, come take a look at my house and make me an offer. That's how I was able to do those deals. All right. Yeah, Carlton Sheets, that's the guy. That was the guy on the picture. That wasn't the guy I took the course from. The guy I took the course from was Ron LeGrand. So anyhow, that got me into it. I took a little hiatus from active real estate investing for a few years because I went on board with a company called Fast Track. I went on board as their director of marketing, helped them grow from the founder and one assistant working out of his basement to 7 branch offices, 128 employees, $200 million a year in revenues. And during that time, I got really passionate about teaching training. I co-authored a few books with some smart people and really got passionate about this whole training thing. Fast forward to 2010, got back into real estate investing, started doing rent-to-own deals in Kamloops. So what's called client-first lease options, where basically we find a good rent-to-own tenant buyer, go house shopping for them, buy them a house, get them in the house, rent-own it to them over the next 2 to 3 years, and then sell it to them for a profit. That was the goal. And I did the first 2 deals, just like everybody. I self-financed the first 2. So that was great. But then I ran out of cash. And lo and behold, like the perfect clients, the perfect tenant buyers came into my office. So went out, found them a nice house, got it tied up under contract. All I needed was 85 grand to close on that deal. And I had everything calculated. I was going to make a nice little $40,000 net profit after paying my investors, the mortgage, everything. That was going to be my profit on that deal over a 2-year period. And I figured, okay, I gotta start raising some money, but I didn't have a clue. So I'd heard, you know what? Pick up the phone and start dialing for dollars. So that was my first trick. I started calling people, call rejection, call rejection, call rejection. And I'm a sensitive soul, so I couldn't take that much rejection. So what did I do? I quit calling. That's what happened. Then I heard, hey, turn every conversation into a real estate conversation. Get out there, network up a storm, practice and use your 30-second commercial, your elevator pitch. Has anybody heard that advice before? All right, so that's what I did. I went out and networked, local BNI, Chamber of Commerce, part of Toastmasters, all of that stuff. Bottom line, I gave out and collected a bunch of business cards. didn't raise any capital, and I was getting stressed out. So I got an extension, a one-week extension on the deal. And that's when I came up with my brainwave. I said, hey, I know quite a few people. Why don't I put together a little email and I'll send it out to everybody and see who's interested in the deal. So that's what I did. Sent it out to a couple hundred people. And I was really excited because I started to get these replies coming back until I read the replies. And basically they're saying, hey, Dave, haven't heard from you in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or whatever it was. And first thing you're coming at me with is you want some money for a deal? Bugger off. Usually not that polite. Some version of that. One of those big take a hike to both ideas, right? So that's what happened. So bottom line, I lost that deal. I really ticked off my tenant buyers. They'd already given notice where they're renting. So that was a mess. Obviously, I had to return all of their money. Ticked off the seller, ticked off the realtor, ticked off the mortgage broker, ticked everybody off, and watched my profit go up in smoke. And I got egg on my face in kind of a small town. If you guys are around any small towns, you kind of know what I'm talking about, right? And why did that happen? Because I ran out of gas. I didn't have my investors lined up beforehand. That's when I discovered what I call the big lie in real estate investing. And it's this: just find a good deal and the money will find you. Horse hooey. That's what I say to that. That's not how it works, you guys. You got to take Confucius advice and dig your well before you're thirsty. So Harvey McKay wrote a book around that. So find the investors first. If you're going to write something down, you guys, if it's the chicken and the egg, what should I have? Should I have a really hot deal and then run out and look for investors? Or should I have my investors lined up first? Always have your investors and the money lined up first. Write that down. Money first, deal second. All right, you guys? It's kind of like our vehicle analogy. You're going to go on a big, long trip. Fill the dang car up with fuel before you leave. Right? So that's when I decided, you know what? Let's focus on this skill. I took a lot of courses and training, a lot of it the same crap, you know, dial for dollars and do all these kind of sales manipulatively type things and become a good closer and all this kind of stuff. That's fine. But then I thought, hey, why don't I apply what I already know, what I'm already passionate about, and that's marketing, because I'm not just a real estate weirdo, I'm a marketing weirdo. I really love marketing. So let's apply marketing to attracting investors, raising capital, just like I've done with so many other businesses. So that's what I did. And I came up with what I call my 5-step money partner formula, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys here tonight. All right. Since then, personally, I've raised millions and millions of dollars with investor partners. More importantly, I've helped tons of mom and pop real estate investors raise mega millions of dollars for their deals. All right. So as we go through this, you guys, I'm going to try to share some videos with you, but let's see. Aha, I think I can do it. All right. So just share a few little case studies with you guys. This one is Rick Wheeler. Rick Wheeler, when I first met him, had one deal, one property under his belt, negative $200 or $300 a month cash flow, single family home. He wasn't very happy with that. I don't blame him. All right. So he got educated about real estate investing, got educated about attracting investors and raising capital. And since then, he blew up his business. Here's what Rick had to say about the importance of having investors lined up ahead of time. Have a quick listen. And Jen, give me the thumbs up if you can hear this okay, all right? Just give me a second.
There was absolutely zero way I could put the deal together on my own. Didn't have the finances or couldn't qualify for another mortgage, whatever it is. So I would have had to pass on deals that were great opportunities if I hadn't had investors on board.
And Rick definitely took advantage of those opportunities. So he went from that one house that was negative $300 a month cash flow. Last time I talked to him, he had a portfolio of 19 properties in and around Edmonton. And even at kind of the doldrums a few years ago in the real estate market in Alberta, he was netting $900 a month per property. So 900 times 19, I'm not sure what that is, but it's pretty good. All right. So that's all what he was able to do. And he did every single one of those 19 deals with an investor partner. So that is the power of having investor partners raising capital. So you can, continue to self-finance if you want. That's kind of like having a little econo car. It might get you there, but it's not going to get you there very quick, and it's not going to be very much fun. Now, if you have investor partners on board, that's kind of like having a sports car. You're going to get there a lot faster, and it's going to be a lot more fun as well. So personally, I've gone from doing creative deals, the 18 deals in 18 months. Then I started doing the rent-own deals. Now I've changed focus. I focus on multifamily properties. And in fact, I realized I'm not the greatest real estate investor, so I partner up with people that are way better, way smarter than I am, way better at the operation side of things, and I help raise capital for their deals. That's really what my passion is about. So started focusing on multifamily properties, raised $800,000 with 5 investor partners, bought a 54-unit apartment building, and well, not quite your neck of the woods, but just outside of Ottawa, you guys. $4.7 million a few years ago. 5-year profit projections, which are coming true. Cash flow over that time, $355,000. Mortgage pay down, $485,000. Appreciation at 4%, which is kind of conservative for that area, that kind of property, over $1 million. Total profits to be shared with the investor partners, over $1.8 million. So why do I share this? Because the bigger deals or the higher volume of deals that you do is going to get you where you want to go financially so much faster. So that first round worked so well, rinsed and repeated the process, and raised $2.1 million from 13 investor partners for a brand new construction deal we were looking at as well. All right, so it's all about attracting investors and raising capital. And you guys, again, we're going to go through this 30,000 foot view perspective here tonight. And if you want to dive in and dig deeper into this, I'm going to be doing a virtual one-day workshop on this, May the 30th. And I'm going to invite you to attend if it's something that you're interested in doing as well. All right, so let's jump into this 5-step money partner formula. And if you don't have investors on board already, if you aren't raising capital, here's some of the challenges you're probably facing. Obviously, not enough money to do the kind of deals or big deals as you'd like to do it. You're not sure how to get the word out about what you're doing. You're not sure who to talk to and who not to talk to about investing with you. And you might be kind of wondering, is now a good time to be talking about investing with people? I mean, we got people that are out of work. We got people who are losing their jobs, losing their businesses, freaked out about COVID. Is now the time to be talking with them about investing? You might not be sure about how to approach people without coming across as needy and creepy. If somebody does put up their hand and say they're interested, that might freak you out. Okay, now what do I do? How do I explain my deal? And bottom line, you're busy. You don't want to spend a lot of time figuring this all out. All right. So another quick case study, Kathy Long. Love this story. Kathy was a single mom, found herself at the wrong end of a divorce, and the sole support and solely raising her 3 teenage sons on a secretary's salary. So Kathy said enough is enough. She got educated about real estate investing, and she also got educated about raising capital. She bought, while working full-time, raising 3 boys, bought 21 rental units in under 2 years. Last time I talked to her, she had well over 30 units in her portfolio, created a lovely full-time income for herself, a multi-million-dollar net worth, quit the JOB years ago, and is living her ideal real estate lifestyle. Why? Because she dialed it in, she got the ABCs of real estate investing, and she learned how to attract investors and raise capital. All right, you guys, again, if you came on a little bit late, don't freak out. I'm going to give you, if you're on here live, a copy of all of the slides from tonight's presentation. But let's dive into step number 1 of the 5-step money partner formula. And that is gather, filter, and reconnect. Come up with a target group of prospective investors. Target group of prospective investors. So when it comes to that, it might be, your question might be, well, who should I approach? We got a few different choices. So the first choice most people make is, hey, you know what? I'm willing to work with anybody who's got a pulse and a checkbook that ain't going to bounce on me. All right. And I'm going to say that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake for 2 reasons. First reason is logic. I mean, if you really sit back and you think about it, what are the chances that a perfect stranger is going to invest $100,000 with you, right? They don't know you, they don't like you, and they sure as heck don't trust you with their $100,000. Does that make sense? So I see so many people going out there and posting their deals on Facebook, putting it out there to the world. And I think that's a really bad idea, you guys, because that brings up the second challenge. The second challenge is this little entity that you guys have in Ontario and Quebec and every other province in Canada called your Provincial Securities Commission. All right, the Ontario Securities Commission. They don't look kindly on that because they say, and their job is supposedly to protect Joe Public. And they say, if you want to raise capital from Joe Public, you either have to be licensed to do so. So somebody like a stockbroker, a mortgage broker, it could be a financial planner, financial advisor, people who are licensed, typically people who are working for big entities like the banks or the big mutual fund companies, et cetera, right? They're allowed to. Or if you get what's called an offering memorandum. Now, a quick little timeout and caveat here, you guys. I'm not a lawyer, not an accountant, not a securities expert. I'm just sharing my understanding and my experience with this, all right? So they say you can get an offering memorandum. That tends to be very expensive and involves a lot of money, a lot of red tape, a lot of hassle. It's beyond what most of us want to do for our smaller deals. All right, so we can't go out to everybody and anybody. What else does that leave us? Well, the Securities Commission says, hey, you know what? There's an exception to this. And the one exception is you can go after accredited investors. Accredited investors, all right? So these are basically rich folks, all right? Each province is a little bit different, but here's the definition I've got. I think this is BC. Individuals who have at least $1 million in financial assets before taxes, not including their own home. Or individuals whose net income before taxes is over $200,000 or $300,000 if combined with a spouse for the last 2 years, or individuals who have at least $5 million in net assets. In other words, rich folks. All right. So if you know a bunch of them, great, go for it. The challenge with them is that there aren't that many of them, and everybody and their dog is chasing after them to invest with them. All right. So there's a lot of competition for their attention. All right. So you could probably say, well, Dave, well, then what can we do? What does that leave us? Well, that leaves us the other exception. The other exception is close friends, family, and business associates. Close friends, family, and business associates. So that's where I want you to focus. And actually, if you think about it, it makes so much more sense, right? Because if you think about it, if we need somebody to know us, like us, and trust us to invest with us, then by focusing on this group, you got 2 out of the 3 already taken care of. And me and Meatloaf think that 2 out of 3 ain't bad. All right. So I know that's a groaner, but hey, so they already know us. They already like us. Now we just really have to work on that trust factor. Do they trust us with their $100,000? That's what we got to work on. But we got the other 2 taken care of. So I'm going to suggest you want to come up with a group of approximately 200 people that you have that pre-existing relationship with. All right. They know you, you know them. And that's who we're going to have as our target group to get started with. Now, if I saw all of your faces, some of you might be giving me a look like this, and you might be saying, but Dave, you don't know my friends, family, and business associates. They're all broke. I'm going to say, probably that's a misconception that you have, right? If you've read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, actually, most millionaires don't look like millionaires. And quite often, the people that are all flash don't have any cash, right? So millionaires, the millionaire next door is, typically somebody living in a similar kind of house, not driving a flashy car. They're very, very good with their money, and they're worth a lot of money. So there's chances are there's a few of those people in your contacts. Other thing is, people say, well, Dave, I grew up and I learned don't mix business and friendship. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Okay, well, let's address that in just a second. And the other one is people say, well, Dave, you know what? It's a little embarrassing, but I took a crack at this business opportunity a couple of years ago of a networky MLM-y sort, and it didn't quite work out. I didn't make my millions. None of the people I got signed up made their millions. I made a big splash, and then it kind of fizzled. I think I've got some egg on my face. Well, the good news is that doesn't need to stop you. You can use that as a learning experience, as a springboard, and more importantly, as a compare and contrast that versus real estate and why real estate makes so much more sense. And whether it comes to not mixing business and friendship and that whole neither a borrower nor a lender be, here's what I have to say about that. I want to encourage you to shift your mindset around that. I really believe that it is our patriotic duty to educate our friends and our family about our real estate opportunities. Educate. You notice I said educate. I didn't say pressure. I didn't say manipulate. I didn't say finagle, wrangle, put somebody's arm behind their back, force them to invest. None of that stuff. educate people about what you're doing with real estate investing and allow them to make an educated decision about whether it makes sense for them or not. You don't have to worry about sales techniques. You don't have to worry about closing, none of that stuff. And quite frankly, you guys, the average Canadian's investment choices suck. They really do. What does the average Canadian do with their money? They put it in mutual funds in the stock market. Recipe for disaster, right? Or they buy bonds, or they buy GICs, right? Any of this kind of stuff. That's not even, they're losing money. They're not even keeping up with inflation, right? And real estate, as we spoke about, is so much better. It's such a superior option compared to pretty much anything else they can be involved in. Actually, compared to anything else they can be involved in my opinion, all right? So the other thing I want you, so that's mind shift number one. You're actually doing people a huge favor by allowing them the privilege of investing with you. Ooh, that's kind of different, isn't it? You're doing people a huge favor by giving them the privilege of investing with you, the privilege of investing with you. Is that kind of a different idea? All right, let's see why it can be a privilege, because most of us get in this, go, oh my God, I need the money. I need the money. I need it more than they need to give it. No, their money needs a good home. And your real estate deal would probably be the best home possible for that capital. All right. So John Simcoe, probably one of the most successful students I've had. He's raised over $32 million for his deals. And I interviewed him a couple of years ago, and I was asking who he likes to have invest with him in his deals, and if he could share a story about one of his favorite stories about what he's been able to do for his investor partners. So have a quick little listen to this.
It was a big light bulb aha moment when I learned that I could partner with other people. So that idea was totally new to me before I had met you, Dave. And now it's something that I do very regularly. I actually prefer working with friends and family because I like working hard knowing that they're making a good return, and I like being able to help out my sphere a little more directly like that. So I really like growing my friends' money and helping them do something that they can't on their own. I get very happy investors, Dave. I've got one client in particular where I'll be sending them enough money every month that they can actually be retired off the passive income that they get. And so that just makes me feel really good, because that's one of the things that I got into this to do, was so that I could do that for myself. Now I have the power to be able to do that for other people.
I love that example, you guys. I mean, think about it. Myself, I'm guilty of this as well. When I first got into this, it was all about, okay, what's in it for me? I need the capital. I want to grow my portfolio. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. When you bring on investor partners into good, solid deals, you're helping them immensely as well. Because remember, 95% of Canadians outside of this group, because we're all kind of real estate weirdos in here, 95% of the civilian population, let's call them that, has never once bought an investment property. Think about it. All right. They don't have the faintest idea what to do, how to do it. They're not interested. They're not motivated to do that. They'd rather keep working other jobs or their businesses or what have you. And they're looking for a good home for their capital. So imagine, I mean, John talked about being able to retire a couple of his investors. That might be a bit of a stretch, but imagine if you could help somebody that you cared about help put their kids through university. Would that be pretty cool? Or what if you could help them get into a nicer home than what they're in right now? What if you could help them have a nicer vehicle, nicer lifestyle, take an extra vacation or two once the COVID thing lifts, then they'd be able to do otherwise. How would that make you feel, right? That would be awesome. That's what this is all about, okay? So when you do a good job, when you focus on creating win-win situations, you get very happy investors. This is a picture of Rena, one of the 5 investors we had in that 54-unit apartment deal, getting her first cash flow check. That's what you're going to get as well. Very happy investors when you bring them on board and create win-win deals. Now, quick tip for you guys. Now's the perfect time to reconnect with people. Now is the perfect time to reach out to those people in your sphere of influence and make that reconnection, right? So let's see if you guys are paying attention. How many people did I say you need to have on your list? How many people did I say it would be the ideal number to have on your list? Good. Look at all these people listening. 200, 200, 200. Who's freaked out about trying to come up with 200 people for their list? Who thinks that might be a bit of a stretch? Who thinks I'm completely out to lunch when I'm saying you? All right, very good. So I'm going to show you guys exactly where to find these people. And if you want to play along, please do. So if you got your cell phone handy, grab your cell phone and let's start there. This is the first place. So take all of your contacts from your cell phone, export them into an Excel spreadsheet. Export them into an Excel spreadsheet. Now, you guys, I know how this works on an iPhone. I think it's the same for an Android. On your phone, go to your contacts, just to give you an idea. Go to your contacts on your phone. You can't see that, probably. Okay, thanks, Jeffrey. Awesome. Scroll down to the very bottom. On the iPhone, it's got a little number sign below the Z. Go down to the very bottom and see how many contacts you have on your cell phone. All right. Now, when I first did this, it blew my mind. I had way more than I thought I did because I'm not a huge cell phone guy. Holy crap, Jeffrey's got 2,600. Yeah, go take a look. Yeah, Razna, don't lose us on Zoom, right? But take a look on your phone if you can. Chances are you know a lot more people than you think you do. So again, start with that. Get all of those contacts off the cell phone onto the spreadsheet. Do the same thing with your email address or addresses. Export all of your contacts from them. If you're like me and you once in a while you go out and you network up a storm, you got a whole bunch of business cards. Get them out of there, get them out of your address book, put them in the thing. Export your contacts from social media, get them into the spreadsheet. Wherever you've got your contacts, get them all into one place into that Excel spreadsheet. And then here's the cool thing, you guys. And then instead of having to come up with 200 people, now you've got probably 1,000 or more, and you can quickly whittle it down to 200 people. All right? That's what it's all about. All right, very good. Now, very important, you guys. If you remember my terrible mistake when I first tried doing this, I spammed everybody I knew with my deal. They say a smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So please be wise and learn from my dumbass mistake. Excuse the language. All right. So break the ice before you start talking real estate, you guys. Break the ice first. Reconnect with people on a personal level before you start talking business. All right. That's step number 1 of the 5 steps. Step number 2, we'll go a little faster, you guys, is what are we going to show them when they put up their hand and they say, hey, you know what? I'm interested. How do we present our opportunities in the best possible light? So I believe that you need to have a well-structured, well-put-together, professional-looking slideshow presentation. So either a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation, depending on what you're using. These things are so powerful because several reasons. First of all, a lot more interesting for the other person to look at. Second of all, it's going to keep you on track. Well, keeps me on track, right? So I don't forget the most important points. And third of all, it's just, it allows you to do your presentation in a consistent manner. Plus, the beautiful thing is these presentations work beautifully online via Zoom, just like what we're doing right now. So you can do the same thing we're doing right now, either one-on-one or to groups via webinars. All right. So next thing, we're in the middle of this COVID thing. People are freaking out. People are concerned. People are wondering what's going to happen with the real estate market. Don't try to brush all of that under the carpet. We need to address the elephant in the room, really address their fears and the concerns right up front, right at the beginning of your presentation. If you do that, they're going to watch, they're going to listen, they're going to pay a lot more attention with an open mind. All right. How well does a good presentation work? It can work amazingly well. This is Brendan, and Brendan was a fairly new investor when I first met him. He had 1 or 2 deals under his belt, ran out of capital like all of us do. So he's looking to raise capital. So he followed my process. He put together what I call his $1 million investor presentation. And I don't know if it was beginner's luck or what, but his very first presentation, he was doing that with a middle-aged lady. She loved it. She loved it so much that she brought on 2 of her friends to invest with Brendan. Brendan got 3 for the price of 1. Awesome deal. That's how well a good presentation could work. All right. And now you guys, you know, everybody's stuck at home. Everybody's used to doing this whole telecommuting or virtual working and doing Zoom calls and all that kind of stuff. All this technology stuff that people weren't doing before, they have to do now. So now is the best time to be doing these online meetings. And second thing, we don't have any choice. We can't be getting together with people one-on-one right now. All right. So that's step number 2. So step number one, again, let's create that list of prospective investors. Let's break the ice with them first. Let's reconnect with them on a personal level. Let's have a really good presentation ready to go. So when some of them do put up their hand and say, yeah, I'm interested, tell me more, we've got something to show them. And then step number 3 is all about the marketing. Constant, consistent communication. Constant, consistent communication. All right. So marketing, again, I'm a marketing weirdo. All sorts of great things you can do online and offline. I'll give you my 2 favorite online things and my favorite offline strategy as well. So my 2 favorite online strategies when it comes to raising capital. One is electronic newsletters or e-zines. Sending out a regular monthly electronic newsletter is super powerful. It's a great way to stay top of mind with people, to keep in front of them, if you would. Okay. The second thing are video logs. And these are short little video bite-sized nuggets, 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes long maximum, that again, you send out on a regular basis. And a couple of tips for you guys: don't over-educate people. Don't get too carried away trying to teach them everything there is to know about real estate. Remember that most of these people don't really want to learn it. They just want to know that you know what you're talking about. So keep it Reader's Digest level. You know, basically, if your 13-year-old child or neighbor's child or whatever could understand it easily, that's about the level that we want to go at. All right. Now, offline, good old school direct mail is super powerful, especially now. Why? Because hardly anybody does it. So it really stands out now. So 3-step shock and awe campaign is my favorite offline strategy. Send out 3 letters to your prospective investors about 2 or 3 weeks apart. Ding, ding, ding. Each one creates curiosity, gets them to pick up the phone, book an appointment. All of the marketing is revolving around getting people to reach out to you and book an appointment. People say, Dave, how do you get people reaching out to you? I tell them to. Although the marketing says, hey, if you'd like to find out more, give me a call, send me an email, book an appointment. All of it consistently reinforces what we want them to do. Because bottom line, you guys, I don't know about you, but I'd rather do anything except for cold calling. I tried it. I sucked at it. I don't want to do it again. That's why we want to apply marketing to attracting people, to getting them to call us. It's so much easier. And you guys, now's the time. Chances are you've got a little bit more time than before, or some of you do. Doesn't sound like Shawn and Jenn have more time. They got their family and they're closing on 12 deals in the next 30 days. They're busy, but a lot of people have more time than they had before. Now is a good time to double down on the marketing efforts. Again, it's all about attracting people to us, getting them to put up their hand and say, hey, you know what? I'm interested. Tell me more. All right. And that conversation, my friends, is so much better than us pushing ourselves on people, networking, schmoozing, cold calling, dialing for dollars, all that crap. If you can get somebody to reach out to you, requesting information, wanting to find out more, it is night and day. All right. Step number 4 of the 5-step process. Demonstrate your authority and your expertise, your credibility. We need to be seen as a real estate expert. All right. So what does that look like? Well, there's all sorts of different ways to do that. First thing is, let's just take a leadership role within our sphere of influence. Be the guy, be the gal that is positive, not Pollyanna, but be positive about the opportunities that are going to be coming out of this. Take that role of leadership. When you're meeting with people, even if you're meeting with somebody on Zoom, if you're talking to a prospective investor, dress the part, right? Business casual, look professional. Speak knowledgeably about your real estate investing strategy, be able to explain it succinctly. Same thing with your market, the market that you're focusing on. Why does that make sense as a good market to invest in? And it can't just be because you live there, right? It's got to make sense. It's got to have the fundamentals. So make sure you can explain the fundamentals of your market. Have good looking materials. Have a website, you guys. My God, if you don't have a website these days, who's going to take you seriously? So have a good website. And then on your website, just another little tip, lots of videos, lots and lots of videos on your website, because videos are the next best thing to them being there face to face with you. And the same website, they actually did a study of this not very long ago. Real estate websites, actually, the same website with a video got 400% more interaction, more opt-ins, more activity than the exact same website, same information in a non-video, just a written format. So video, 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 you guys. Other things, other quick little tips. look the part. So do not go cheap. Do not go cheap on your market. Somebody unmuted.
आपको जो है हाई
Somebody unmuted.
वो आपको वैसी ताने दे के करने के लिए निकलवाने के लिए बोल रही हो, आपको क्या पता
Y están hablando español.
आपके हमारे घर की
All right, guys. While we're trying to mute people, we'll keep going.
आप हर चीज जो है, मैं भी आपकी बुराइयां करना शुरू करूँ, आपको कैसा लगेगा?
Is it Hindi?
Jen, you can
All
mute
right,
everyone,
no
by the
problem.
way.
Can you
Right.
please mute yourself?
It's all in
Sorry,
your
Dave.
head, यार.
Can you mute?
I can't see them.
It's a little distracting.
Hand over.
Just mute everybody, Jen, except for Dave.
Trying to. I can't see because I can only see Dave's screen right now.
Okay. Shawn, you might be able to go in there and control that as well. Oh, there we go.
You're good. You're good.
You're good. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. All right. Very good. So another quick case study for you guys. Sam Perrin, great guy, actually based here in Kamloops. And Sam was an RCMP officer. He was one of those guys that as a kid always wanted to be a cop. He grew up, he became one. He quickly realized it's not as much fun as it looks like on TV. And God bless him, he and his wife adopted 3 little kids, all under the age of 4, all from the same family, and became instant parents. He loved it so much, he said, you know what? I don't want to punch the clock as a cop anymore. I want to be a full-time real estate investor and spend more time with my family. Luckily, he already had a few doors under his belt. Then he really dialed it in, got focused on attracting investors, raising capital. Quickly, within a year, grew his portfolio to 18 doors. Now, that didn't replace his cop income, but it was enough for him to be able to quit. Walked away from the pension, became a full-time real estate entrepreneur. And the beautiful thing is he just kept going. So now Sam has partnered up with a very successful doctor, and they are doing multifamily deals. Their goal is to add 100 doors per year to their portfolio, be done in 5 years, and be completely done. All right. So that's what's possible when you start attracting investors, raising capital, you guys. Step number 5 of the 5-step process is once you've got all this going, then you can really start the snowball effect. And the snowball effect is once you've got an investor or 2 on board, you can get so many more of them so much easier through referrals and testimonials. So it's all about getting good video testimonials and referrals from your current investor partners. All right, you guys, I know I've gone through a lot of stuff very, very quickly. Let's do a quick review and see how this can work for you. So again, real estate is the vehicle that we have chosen as the way to create wealth and income for ourselves and our family and for our investor partners. Every vehicle needs fuel. Money and capital is the fuel for our investment vehicle. And having investor partners, that's like having your own sports car. It's going to get you where you want to go so much faster, and you're going to have a lot more fun doing it. So Todd Mullahan, another great example. Todd was like a lot of people, got out of the gate pretty strong, and in his early to mid 20s, he actually got 3 properties in his portfolio. Then he changed jobs, started his own business, got married, had kids. Real estate got put on the back burner. I think it was about 10 years later, he kind of woke up to it again, came out to a real estate event, got re-inspired about real estate, got educated about attracting investors and raising capital. And very, very quickly, within 6 months, he went from 3 properties, he added 18 more units in 6 months. And the last time I heard from him, he had 72 doors in his portfolio and was doing real estate full time. So really, you guys, it's up to you. You can stay slow, you can stay small, trying to finance your own deals, or you can really put the pedal to the metal and get bigger, faster profits, get where you want to go so much faster using other people's money. Because bottom line is, investors have all the capital you could ever want or need out there. You just have to learn how to access it, right? Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he or she who raises the most money wins, you guys. So I've talked to you 30,000 foot perspective about how this whole thing works, but knowledge without taking action is worse than not knowing in the first place. So you guys, if you remember way back to when you learned how to drive, chances are your mom and dad did not give you the keys to the car and a DVD and say, go for it. Chances are they hired somebody to get in the car with you and show you exactly what to do and how to do it, to be there right beside you, right? So I want to be your driving instructor when it comes to raising capital and attracting investors. So that's why I'm going to be doing a virtual full day workshop on Saturday, May the 30th. I'd love to invite you to come to that because it definitely is the ultimate shortcut to get from where you are to where you want to be with your portfolio. So here's another quick tip for you guys, whether it's with me or with ONREIA or whatever it could be. Now is the time. Don't be like everybody else. Don't be vegetating to Netflix and Facebook 24/7. Take time off of that and put time into educating yourself, getting the education you need to take advantage of all the opportunities that are going to arise once this whole COVID thing lifts. So when you come out to the virtual workshop, here's what you're going to get. The first thing you're going to get is massive education, massive value. So this is a full-on workshop, you guys. It's not light. In fact, this is 7 to 8 hours of workshop training on a Saturday. But instead of you having to get in the car, drive to a hotel, I'm going to zoom into your living room and share all of this information with you live on May the 30th. All right. So session number 1, we're going to focus on how to get your target group of prospective investors, exactly who to focus on, how to get them, where to put them, what to do with them once you've got them in that list. All of that stuff is going to be taken care of in session number 1. Session 2, how to reconnect with people and get things off on the right foot. So if you remember my sad story about spamming everybody, I want you to avoid that. So again, learn from my dumb mistakes. So what I've come up with is a very simple process, what I call a warm-up campaign, to break the ice with people, to set the stage, to get things off on the right foot. So I'm going to show you exactly what to do, how to do it, and what order to do that whole campaign in session number 2. Again, show you how step-by-step, give you the tools you need to actually do it. Session number 3 is all about creating your own $1 million investor presentation and how to do this one-on-one online, as well as present virtually via groups as well. So how to have your very own $1 million investor presentation. And we're going to try and make this, obviously we can't do it as exactly the same as a live in-person event, but we're going to do the next best thing. It's going to be close. So we're going to actually have breakout sessions. You're going to be working in small groups. You're going to be role-playing, practicing, going back and forth with people, practicing this stuff, because practice makes perfect. We're going to show you how to do this one-on-one on Zoom, plus group meetings as well. Session number 4 is all about the marketing, the constant, consistent communication. I'm going to show you how to get this up and running and how to get your first several meetings under your belt, some friendly ones that could turn into some capital sooner rather than later. All right. And then session number 5 is all about how to leverage this. So you guys, my whole goal with this virtual workshop is to give you a roadmap to go from 0 to raising capital in 6 weeks or less. All right. And this is really how to kick that up. This is leverage. We love that word in real estate. When it comes to marketing, what I'm talking about here is how to do group presentations online. So give you an example of how powerful this can be. This is Marco now. He reached out to me when he was making the transition from single family homes into multifamily properties. He had his first apartment building under contract, 14 units plus 3 commercial spaces on the bottom floor for $1.7 million. The only challenge was he didn't have the down payment. Okay. So he came to me, he said, Dave, what can we do? I said, all right, let's do an online group presentation, a webinar. So that's exactly what we did. We created his $1 million investor presentation, and we did it to a group online via webinar. Bottom line, within a week, he raised the capital that he needed to buy that first apartment building deal. Now that's cool, but what's even cooler is that about 6 months later, he found a bigger, better deal. An opportunity came up. Our opportunity is going to be coming up for you. You bet they are. An opportunity came up for Mark, bigger, better deal. We rinsed and repeated the webinar strategy, and it took a little longer, but it was in about 10 days, he raised over $1 million from that one webinar. I think he had 10 investor partners on board with that one to buy his second apartment building. Now that's cool, but what's really cool is that's the one that tipped him over the edge. That's the one that got him out of the rat race. That's the one that allowed him to quit his good, secure government job with the pension and become a full-time real estate entrepreneur. So here's what Mark had to say about that whole process. Have a quick listen.
Wow. I mean, the first time we got together was when I had this big deal that I didn't know how to raise capital for, and you helped me. You were really instrumental in helping me see that through.
How much money did you raise from the webinar that we did? Do you recall?
We were able to raise $440,000, which is what we needed to close on that deal. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
How that started by him coming out to a workshop just like this, because I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step webinar tutorial. I've been doing webinars for so long, you can tell by my gray hair, I've been doing webinars for so long that when I started, they weren't even called webinars. They were teleseminars because they're over the phone, all right? So I've got it dialed in. I do webinars probably these days, probably 3 or 4 times a week. So I'm going to show you exactly how step-by-step to do your own webinars, all right? And here's another interesting fact. All of the capital that I have raised since 2012, 2013 has been via webinars. So I'm going to show you how step-by-step at the one-day workshop. So you guys, you've probably been out to Rich Dad events or, you know, Dean Graciosi's or whoever flies through town, whichever flavor of the month is coming through town. And you've been to one of their introductory events, then they sell you $500 or $1,000 to come out to one of their weekend events. Well, this is that kind of weekend event without the pitch fest, all right? It's that kind of in-depth training you're going to be getting at this virtual workshop. Plus, I'm going to be giving you a workbook with all of the slides from all of the 5 sessions that we're going to be going through. So you've got something that you can download onto your computer. You can print it out if you want. You've got a reference library available to you after the workshop as well, okay? So you're probably thinking, well, Dave, sounds good, but what's it going to set me back, all right? And I truly believe that the real world value of this is well over $2,000. But when I'm doing this workshop live and in person, I want to keep it accessible. So the investment's actually usually only $97, but that's when I actually have to rent a hotel room and I have to give you some stale coffee and donuts and that kind of stuff that's not all that great. So we're doing this virtually. So obviously I don't have those costs. So I'm going to actually make this even more affordable for you guys. So your investment, our ONREIA special pricing is just $49, you guys. All right. So I'm going to copy and paste this, maybe if I can figure it out, into the chat box and send this to you if I can. Control V, send this to everyone.
That's cheaper than a lunch with Jeff Wybo.
That is. That is, all right. And how about, Shawn, how about if I do this? How about if I do this upright? How about if I even blatantly bribe people to come out on the 30th, on May the 30th? Are you guys okay with that? All right. I hope you're okay with it because I've got some, well, I've always wanted to say this, but wait, there's more. All right. There's some action taker bonuses as well. So you guys, I want to do something. I want to create a problem for you. I want to create a good problem for you. And the problem I want to create is that you've got more capital than you've got deals for. That's a nice problem to have. If you got more money than deals, that's a nice problem. So then I want to solve that problem with my system called More Deals Now. So this is everything that I've done. So if you recall, I did those 18 deals in 18 months. Again, those were all private deals. No realtors, no surfing the MLS, no calling FSBOs. Nothing wrong with any of those things. I just preferred to apply marketing. So I applied marketing, got motivated sellers to reach out to me, asking me to make an offer on their property. So I created this program, and it's an online digital program. I've sold it for as much as $1,000 in the past. This is a free bonus for you when you come out to the virtual workshop on May the 30th. Another free bonus for you, Insider Secrets for Raising Millions. You might recognize some of these people. So one of the contributors in this is Russell Westcott, co-author of Real Estate Joint Ventures, #2 guy at Rain for a long time. July Ono, she's a West Coast investor, grew her portfolio from 0 to 500 doors in about a decade, all using investor capital. Paul Blackyer from Ottawa, Canada's leading expert on using other people's RRSPs to fund your deals, plus many others. Again, another $999 value, free for you for coming out to the workshop. And last but not least, you're going to get a one-on-one clarity session to really apply the 5-step formula to your particular situation, to your strategy, to your particular market, to your needs, right? Because again, on this one-day workshop, we're going to have about 40 people in the workshop. I can't do that individually for every person. But what we do is we have a call afterwards to show you how to apply it in your particular situation. So that's a $500 value. Again, that is a free bonus. So you guys, you're getting the ticket to the full day workshop. You're getting the investor traction workbook, the more deals now, insider secrets, and the clarity session. Total value over $3,500. Again, your investment is just $49. Now, the first one of these virtual workshops I did was a little over a month ago. I thought it was going to take 4 or 5 hours. I was very wrong. It took closer to 8 hours. And here's what Adele had to say. The fact that everybody stayed on for 8 hours for a 5-hour webinar speaks volumes of the content and the teaching capabilities. All right. Spent a beautiful day, 8 hours with Dave. All I can say was 8 hours very well spent. He knows his stuff and is fantastic at sharing his knowledge and easy to understand fashion. All right. So you guys, I keep these virtual workshops small. And the reason I do that is so that we can have more interaction. We can have more activities. We can have small group activities, breakout sessions. All right. So we keep this to a maximum of 40 people. We already had 3 spots taken up because the last one sold out. We had a little bit of overflow. So at this particular time, we have 37 spots available for the May the 30th workshop. All right. So if you want to grab a spot, click on the link or go to investorattractionworkshop.com/ONREIA. Now, there's probably a skeptic or two in the room, right? There's probably a skeptic or two. You might be thinking, well, Dave, WTF. I think that's a misspelling. I think it's supposed to be WTH. What the heck? I think that's what that is, but I'm not sure. Why are you doing this, right? Why are you going to be spending an entire Saturday charging us $50? We can tell even if you have 40 people on board, that's not a real huge money maker, that's for sure. Why are you doing it? What's your sneaky ulterior motive, Dave? All right, how about if I just open up the curtains, I'll explain it. Well, first thing is, I actually do get a kick out of these workshops. Hopefully you get that impression. I enjoy teaching and training. It's a lot of fun for me. But there is a financial reason for it as well, and it's not your $50. Here's the thing. On the workshop, I am going to show you everything that you need to do in 6 weeks during this COVID time to start raising capital, right? I'm going to show you how step by step. It's a roadmap. If you want to do it yourself, great, go for it. If you're a real do-it-yourself kind of person. On the other hand, if you'd rather have somebody who knows what they're doing do it for you, then we've got 2 different resources we're going to be offering you to make your life so much easier, to make the process so much faster and more effective. All right. I'm going to be making you what I hope are irresistible offers for you to take me up on these offers. But if not, that's okay too. I'm not a high pressure guy. It's not for everybody. If you're a real do-it-yourself person, you're going to get massive, massive value from it. Fair enough? How's that for transparency? So I'm going to make you 2 different offers. If you want them, great. If you don't, that's fine too. And I'm not going to spend a heck of a lot of time making those offers either. All right. So if you're interested, go ahead, click on the link there, go to the website. And if you're worried about your $50, don't be, because I got you covered with a money back guarantee. Here's how this works. Come to the whole virtual workshop, attend the entire thing. If you're not happy for any reason, let us know that day. Now, there's the only caveat. You have to let us know before 8 p.m. Eastern time. So the event's going to be finishing probably somewhere around 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. Let me know before 8 p.m. Eastern if you didn't like it, and I'll give you all your money back. Here's the only caveat. You won't get the bonuses if you ask for a refund. Fair enough? But if you're not happy with it, you get all your money back. All right? But I'm sure you're going to be thrilled. All right? If you're looking to get results like some of the people I've shared with you here, John Simcoe, he's raised over $32 million. He's been to 3 of these workshops. If there's anybody who doesn't really need to come back, it's him. But he likes to come back, get refreshed, get re-inspired. He wrote me this messy little note at the last one. Thank you for helping me to attract the money to do my real estate deals. Brian Dagenet, Ottawa, raised enough capital after coming out to this event to buy a 6-plex downtown. Paul Reynolds, John Wiles already had tons of experience raising capital the old way. They were tired of dialing for dollars and chasing the money. They wanted a system for attracting people instead. They put that into play. Guess what? $1.5 million, super fast. Jury, his very first $1 million investor presentation, $200,000 raised. Craig Lingard went from chasing the money to having more capital than deals. Ran out and celebrated, bought himself a brand new Tesla when Teslas were pretty new. Karen and Leona McKnight, the very first presentation, $80,000. Aaron Belmore doing a webinar, $673,000. We already saw Marco Napa. Amy and Leslie Collard you guys might know these folks. From 3 units, when I first started working with them, they had 2 properties, 3 units total. They started attracting investors, raising capital, went very, very quickly to 72 units. Jamie quit her job, full-time real estate entrepreneur. And here's the cool thing. You remember I told you about the young guy, age 15, who bought his first fiveplex? That's the kid. It's their kid. They learned how to attract investors, raise capital for me. They taught their son. He applied it. And he went out and bought a fiveplex. Gotta love it. All right. So, you guys, if you're interested in this, now is the time. And we're going to be wrapping up, and we're going to be opening up for Q&A in just a second here, if you don't mind, Jen. So again, go to the website there. And while we've got questions coming in, 2 things I want to do. First thing is I want to show you what you're going to get when you go to the website, just in case there's any confusion or any challenges. So when you go to the website, you see this darn good looking couple alongside my ugly mug, and you can scroll down, check it all out. And when you're ready, if you want to watch some of the videos, cool. When you're ready, click on the big blue button, register now. That'll take you to the secure online registration form. Fill out your information. You can pay by Visa or MasterCard. Click at the bottom, order, and Bob's your uncle. You'll get an immediate confirmation, and you'll also get taken immediately to the thank you page with all of the information. All right. And we're going to open up here for Q&A here in a second, you guys. In the meantime, while you are typing in your questions, have a little listen to some other folks just like you who came out to a similar event a couple of years ago. They actually had to spend between $1,000 and $2,000 and fly to Kamloops to attend this workshop. Have a little listen to see what they had to say about the whole thing.
Dave has already over-delivered, you know, it's just so much fun, just an easy-going atmosphere, and it's more than I ever expected.
Learned a lot, and I'm ready to go out and make some deals.
I like the information, it's very actionable. It's just, he makes it so simple that you can just easily act on what he's teaching you.
Get in your vehicle and come. Yeah, fantastic. I think you need to be here. You need to experience it for sure. If you want to do this as a business.
Do you recommend Dave's future training events?
Oh, hands down, hands down. Dave's been a mentor of mine for a really long time, and I have everything to accredit to him for my real estate investing.
Can get focused now and take action. My wheels are spinning so fast, I think they're going to come off the rails.
Dave showed me the right way to do it. You got to get off the fence. You got to come here. You got to learn from Dave.
Go for it. Can't go wrong. The program is awesome, and just do what it says in the program. Take action, and you're on your way.
I think it's a very valuable investment. Anything that Dave offers, we've always found it to be top-notch.
You know, I mean, Dave Dubeau puts on a program, and he always delivers more than what you would expect, and it's no different this time. And he's put on a fantastic weekend here for all of us, and we've all learned some valuable stuff that's going to make us some.
Awesome, you guys. All right, well, that's the presentation. If you've got any questions, now is a good time to put them in the, what do you want to do for that, Jen?
Yeah, so oh, sorry, hang on. Let me close this. I wrote down some as they were coming in. So the first question, and I should have written down who was asking this, but someone was asking about accredited investors, ? In your area, ? What does that mean?
All right, so we went through that. So again, accredited investors, a little bit different in each province. Basically high net worth individuals, either earning $200,000 as an individual or $300,000 as a couple, $5 million net worth, $1 million in liquid assets, different things like that. Typically, when you think of accredited investors, probably your doctor would be there, dentists, high paid professionals, successful business owners, those kind of folks. So again, people who have high income, high net worth.
All right. Another question that came in, and I think this was from Tina, was how small an investment do you accept? What's considered practical? And we had a couple other investors give their 2 cents as to what they do, but what do you say?
All right. That's a really good question, you guys. And this is the temptation. The temptation in the beginning is to take everybody and anybody with a pulse and a check for any amount. All right. Big mistake. So I would suggest that your minimum investment should be $100,000. $100,000. All right. Now, that might be a little bit different, depends on the kind of properties you're doing, the area that you're in. But bottom line, for example, if you're doing a BRRRR strategy and you're buying a property for $300,000, you need 20% downs plus some capital for repairs, et cetera, renos. Ideally, you would have one investor on board with the total amount of capital. Okay. So my recommendation is minimum $100,000. And here's been my experience. If you take somebody on with 50 grand, chances are that's all the money they have in the world. All right. And if that 50 grand, if that's their nest egg, they're going to be such nervous Nellies, it's going to freak them out. All right. Anytime the wind shifts, anytime they hear something negative about real estate, which is often, right, in the media, they're going to be calling you up. They're going to be a complete hassle. On the other hand, if you focus on getting people with 100 grand or more, I mean, think about it, you guys. How difficult is that with property prices in Ontario? How many people do you think have at least $100,000 in home equity they could access if they wanted to? It's definitely not that tough. So $100,000 would be the minimum I would recommend. Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Tons of people coming in, kind of. So quick shout out to Keith and to Will and to this is going to take a little while here. Razna, great. I can't open all of these that quickly, so go ahead. Lisa, looks like we got about 20 people so far that have grabbed tickets, so congratulations. That's great, you guys.
That's great. And remember, there's only 37 spots available. So if already we've had that many people register, if you're thinking of joining, I would do it sooner rather than later. So another question is, what is the exit strategy after getting money from your investors?
Oh, that's a really good question. So not a great answer. It depends. So you guys, so again, what I'm going to be showing you in this one-day workshop is how to attract the investors, how to raise the capital. What I'm not going to be showing you is what specifically to do with the capital that you raise. And the reason is because everybody's different. Every strategy is different. So for example, if you're into flipping houses, chances are you only need that capital for 3 to 6 months, then you're exiting the deal. Well, that's one situation. If you're doing the BRRRR strategy, chances are you're going to be getting into the property, you're going to be fixing it up, you're going to be refinancing it and pulling out a chunk of capital fairly shortly. Well, that's a different situation. If you're into long-term buy and hold of apartment buildings, you're going to be getting people into that. Chances are it's probably going to take a few years to get to the point where you can refinance and get them some or all their capital. So every situation is different. That's why we do the one-on-one strategy call after the whole thing to show you how to apply it to your particular strategy.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Another question. Oh, sorry. This is a question from earlier. I guess I didn't ask it correctly. The question was, do the 200 people on your contact list have to be accredited and in the city that you are focusing on?
All right. Very good question. So again, you guys, this is why I'm suggesting that we focus on people that you have a pre-existing relationship with, your sphere of influence. Because again, that's one of the loopholes that the Securities Commission says we can work within. We can raise capital from people that we have that pre-existing relationship with. So they don't need to be accredited investors.
All right.
Dave, I've got a question. Yeah. You're talking about the commission and raising capital. If you're raising, let's say for a larger property, you're raising say 500,000. You're bringing in 5 different people at 100,000 each. Yep. Is there an issue with syndication, with the commission, and things like that?
Again, I haven't seen that to be a problem, and we've done that exact scenario. So again, if you're working with people that you have that pre-existing relationship with, you should be okay. Again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, all that caveat type stuff. Check with the appropriate legal authorities. But that's more of a situation in the States, from what I understand. All right, they're different rules, different regulations, same big concept, but that's where syndication really kind of comes into play. All right, and congratulations to Mijun, Jacob, somebody, Razna, all sorts of people. So again, I've got a whole bunch I haven't been able to open up yet, you guys. So, yep, we're getting there. Any more questions, you guys?
I haven't seen any more come in. Oh, wait, let me go. New message. Question, how do you protect yourself indemnification from the risks?
All right, that's a big word, indemnification. How do I protect myself from the risk? So, Jag, if you could just kind of clarify which risks are you talking about? How do I protect myself? And in that case, what risks are you referring to? Or how can the investor partner protect themselves from their risks? How do you secure the land? Again, that's going to depend, Danusha. I think I got to write that down. How do you secure the land? Lots of different ways. And it depends if you're bringing the person on board as an equity investor, or if you're just basically getting hard money that's secured somewhere else. So there's all sorts of, they can be on title. They can be qualifying for the financing if you need them to. It depends on your situation. It could be that perhaps they're doing a second mortgage on a different property that you have, and you're using that capital to buy the property that you want to buy, and it's secured by an RSP second mortgage. It could be a mortgage, a second mortgage on the property you're buying. It really depends on how you want to structure things. Okay, good questions, you guys.
I haven't seen any more questions come in over chat. Shawn, did you have anything else?
No, I haven't seen any more in there either. There's someone asking how Dave is going to send the freebies.
How am I going to send the freebies? Yeah, okay, good question, Shawn. I think the way I'm going to send the freebies is after we finish up here, Jen's going to let me know who is on the call, and I'll send you a quick little email with a link, and you can download all of the freebies that way. Okay. So Quentin, having a problem using Visa debit. All right, so Quentin, do this. Either give my assistant Lorna a call at the number that's on the screen, or send a quick email to support@davedubeau.com with your phone number in it, and she'll give you a call and she'll get you set up. All right, we can do it. All right. Danusha says, love the program, already on it. Lorna is an absolute genius. Lorna is my assistant. Yes, thank you, Danusha. That's great. Grant says, great lesson. Thank you. Live it. Boy. Thanks, Dave, for the great presentation, and ONREIA for hosting this online event. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for being on it, everybody. Fantastic turnout, you guys. So I think we should definitely give Shawn and Jenn a big virtual round of applause. And give them a virtual hands up. You guys, thank you so much for putting this together and for all that you do for your group. It's absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you, Dave, for joining us and for leading us through. This was super valuable, and clearly everyone thought so from all of the comments and all the conversation that was happening in the chat. So thank you so much, and I'm excited for everyone who's registered for May 30th.
22 so far, it looks like.
Excellent. All right. Now, do they have any additional time? Like, do they have until the end of the night to register, or what does that look like?
When it's full, it's full.
Okay.
So when we hit 40, it's down. Yeah, I do cap it out at 40. Yeah. So.
Okay. So a little over 10 spots left then.
Yep. We've got about 15 spots left right now that I can tell. But there's a little bit of a delay between when they sign up and when it shows up on my computer screen. I'll just show this to you guys. Just tell you that so you can see I'm not faking, not fibbing. All these no replies. Ding, 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 ding. And then there's this one here, which says there's 12. So if I click on that one, then there's 12 registrations here that came in so fast, they didn't show up on my regular computer screen. So that's where we see that we've got the 22 or so far.
Got it. Okay, well, I hope more people take advantage of this, because for $50, that is just unheard of. So thank you so much for being so generous and spending not only this evening with us, but offering to spend a whole day with our community and teaching them your ways. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, you guys. Fantastic being part of your group. Again, thank you so much for everything that you do for the investor community in your area with ONREIA. Keep up the good work. Especially, these are weird times, so keep the virtual meetings going.
Thank
you, Dave.
Awesome. So
right.
We are going to wrap it up for this evening. And oh, there we go. Here I am. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. That was awesome. I think we had almost 100 people on tonight. And again, great content, really valuable information. And yeah, I hope hop on there. There's a few more spots left. So get some cash, raise some capital, find your joint venture partners so you're ready when the opportunity comes your way. Take care. Remember, put in your calendar June the 18th. That is our next ONREIA event. And more information, I have been actually talking with one of our guest speakers and just confirming him. So that will be announced shortly. And that's it for us tonight. Take care, and we will see you all again soon.
Have a great month, guys.